Hi, I'm Deacon Nick. In the last video, we went through the list of 12 steps in the developing of spirituality. And if you recall, St. Benedict tells us that if we have completed those 12 steps, we would have achieved God's gift, His greatest love that casts out all fear. Now I would like to, and I think we ended on the fact that we said, bloom where you are planted. Now I'd like to touch on recognizing the presence of God. We must realize that pride is the basic flaw in the human system, and humility is the antidote, the element, or the cure to correct it. The rule concerning humility was written for the men of Rome in a culture that valued machismo, power, and independence. It sounds almost like our culture today. You're going to hear me speak about humility in ways I hope that you have never thought of before. Humility is the antidote to violence, and it is the key to mental health. Let me say that again. Humility is the antidote to violence, and it is the key to mental health. Humility, of course, is not an American virtue. The humility that I am speaking of is not passive, it is not meek, and is not self-effacing. These qualities are not healthy, and they are not good. We have to learn more about humility. Benedict, in his speaking on the humility, comes out with 12 degrees of humility to achieve inner peace. And the 12 steps of humility are for our self-development and also to help us to develop community. Everyone has something that controls his or her life. Either it's ambition, greed, independence, fear, narcissism that exaggerates the sense of self and diminishes everything else around us. The object here is to permeate our lives with the consciousness of reality. Now, what does that mean? We have to permeate, we have to draw ourselves into the reality of life. What we see and what we do, everything around us right now sometimes is a blur. It pretends to be reality, but in essence it is not. And so I hope that we can focus and see to this, come to this consciousness of what reality really is. The first rule in this basic teaching that our spiritual directors teach us, they tell us that there are 6 basic rules. I'm going to touch on only 2 of them. The first one is a rule that God is not a goal to be reached, but God is a presence to be reckoned with. The first rule is that God is not a goal to be reached, but God is a presence that must be reckoned with. The rule goes on to say that we must keep the fear of God always before us and never forget it. The second degree follows the first. Love not our own will, but realize that God's will is best for us. Let God be God. If we do that, it gives the world the right to go on without us interfering with it. I really believe that God is truly present to us here and now. And if we believe that, then I have to come to the realization and deal with that actuality, that God is truly present to me here and now. And if I don't do that, then I cannot resolve anything in my life. So remember, if we acknowledge that God is truly present to us here and now, that is something that we have to deal with. Otherwise, we cannot reconcile anything in our life. Benedict's teaching on spirituality is both shocking and simple. He tells us being sinless is not enough. He says we must steep ourselves into the mind of God. That's important. And with that, we must come to pray daily. To pray the prayer, "O God, my God, you are my God, that I long for all this day." If we keep that in mind, we are always conscious that God is always present. We are always conscious of the fact to be fearful of the presence of God. And at the same time, we are calling upon him saying, "God, my God, you are my God. For you I long throughout this day." Then you will see, to win, to compete, to go ahead, to succeed, no longer own our soul or sour our life, nor does it consume our hearts and destroy our psychic or take our joy from us. Then, and only then, will we truly experience to be free. God, my God, for you I long throughout this day. Keep that prayer as simple as it is before you each and every day. God bless you. And please, don't be afraid to send in questions or let me know what you think of the videos. I'm open to positive and negative. All I want you to do is to share your life with me so that I can share spiritual life with you. God bless you.